And MAGA-related Trump-type content for you watching it on YouTube might be a day or two behind because they do tend to censor, block, ban, things like that. So we try to get it to you as soon as we can. So what up? It is their boy Tim, the handsome liberal. As you see, the video is titled, Did Trump Go Too Far? Now, we're talking about in 2020. We're talking about the notion of Trump stating that the election was taken from him, which is possible. We don't know. Maybe some evidence will come out. We know that a hell of a lot of folks on both the right and left side of the aisle are saying it's not happening, but anything is possible. So we're not necessarily suggesting that he's wrong. We're asking, in the claim that the election was taken from Trump, the responses he made, did he go too far? I'll give you an example. Maybe your spouse decides to lay their hands on you, attack you. You can talk about the fact that you were attacked, but if you start calling them demonic, a worshiper of Satan, and other things that have nothing to do with you being attacked, is your response too far? That's what we're asking, is did Trump go too far? I'm going to give you some examples. As always, appreciate you folks tuning in. This is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Tap the screen, 400 plus of you in here already. You could be anywhere you want to be on this app. It's always an honor having you here with yours truly. Now, when we say, did he go too far? We're not suggesting that he was wrong or right in regards to what he said about the election. That remains to be seen. However, let's go through some of the things that happened. First of all, the call to Governor Kemp in Florida or in Georgia, the governor of the state of Georgia, Governor Kemp, find me 11,000+ votes. Perhaps there's nothing criminally wrong with it. However, is it really the governor's job in the middle of an election to specifically find votes for one of the candidates? Why are you interfering with the governor in the middle of an election, telling him to specifically find you votes? How would we have felt if Biden had called Governor Kemp or a Democratic governor and asked that he find him 11,000 or find them votes of any type? There's an election going on. The proper response is, sir, the people of my state have spoken. We have election officials looking into the vote tally. We will announce that as soon as we can. As a governor, it's not his job to find a specific candidate votes. Did Trump go too far? Next, the suggestion that Biden, the president of the United States, stole the election. Now, Biden was a citizen during the election of 2020, a citizen running for office. Did he steal the election? Hell, anything is possible. But what about the notion of not having any proof? 2023, have you seen enough proof to lead you to believe that Biden, as a citizen, which is what he was when the election was taken, have you seen evidence that Biden himself personally took the election? I'm asking the question, did Trump go too far? Not saying whether the election is stolen or not, whether he won or not. We can talk about that. But did he go too far in some of his claims? Because this is why he's facing all of these indictments and all of this other bullshit. Next, calling Mike Pence a rhino. Now, Mike Pence made a decision that Trump did not favor at all on January 6th. While I respect his efforts to find the right avenue of what he could have done on January 6th, I am here to say he made the wrong decision. Trump could have said that. But to suggest, based on his decision on January 6th alone, he is now a Republican in name only. No, not only did he make the wrong decision on January 6th, he's not even a Republican. Did Trump go too far? That's what we're asking. Next, Trump won by a landslide. Perhaps that happened, but there is a difference between suggesting that fraud took place and Trump won. I've said it numerous times. As a left-leaning voter, I could have cheated in the 2020 election. Perhaps I could have been caught doing it. But me cheating alone does not mean the other side won. So we're talking about the difference between there was a lot of liberal cheating versus Trump won by a landslide. Did he go too far? Should he have simply pointed out there's been cheating, or should he have stepped up and claimed victory? Next, Ruby Freeman. We know Ruby Freeman in the mother and daughter combination in Georgia. In the state of Georgia, the ballot officers were putting up boards on the wall. They were not letting officials stand 6 feet from them to see what was going on, as opposed to making them stand 25 feet away. A lot of things folks on the right saw that they thought looked suspicious. But does suspicion automatically convert to a crime, criminal activity? What you're doing looks suspicious. You're walking by my house at 3 a.m. Does that automatically convert to you are intending to break in and cause harm to me? Did Trump go too far? That's what we're asking. Last one, and we'll go straight to the comments, straight to the box. Dominion voting machines, switching votes from Biden, or better yet, from Trump to Biden. There is evidence to suggest that the machines were not properly secured, where someone who was computer savvy may have been able to access the machines, potentially hack into it or something of that nature. But does that mean it actually happened? Does the fact that the machines are not completely secure from the internet automatically translate to someone broke in the machine and switched votes from Trump to Biden? If you leave your door unlocked, does that automatically equate to someone is going in your house and stealing stuff? Or is it possible you just wake up the next day, notice my house was not secure, but no one broke in? That's what we're asking. Did Trump go too far? As always, it's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. This is a MAGA-friendly program. The box is open. We'll go there shortly. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone simply because you disagree with the host. No one has to agree with the host. Understand that. Weak evidence. The only one saying what you are is Dinesh D'Souza, says Sly. It's a lot more than Dinesh D'Souza, but I do agree with you. The evidence in a host of these issues is not strong at all. In some cases, none existed. All right, going straight to the box. Can we talk policies, because I want to be able to feed my family, and minimum wage is $7.25. In regards to raising the minimum wage, you already know which side of the aisle is in favor of raising minimum wage. If your biggest complaint is minimum wage does not seem to increase, you should know by now that virtually everyone calling for minimum wage increase is a Democrat. Virtually everyone suggesting that if you raise the minimum wage, the cost of goods and services is going to go up, and small business cannot afford to do it. For the most part, they're all Republican. So I'll leave that one to you. Going to the box. We started off with, I cannot pronounce the name, 92. I can't pronounce the name, but good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Why still asking questions? What can be finally proven for you to give it up? TikTok. I don't quite get that. I cannot pronounce the name, but 92, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Handsome Liberal. How are you?
I'm doing good. What is the name?
Beric Dondarrion.
Beric.
It's a character from Game of Thrones.
Okay, Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, do you believe Trump has went too far in his claims?
I believe the evidence in the Georgia case is, that's pretty much an open and shut case. I think it's overwhelming evidence, and of course, it's easy for a leftist to say that, but seriously, I believe that.
I don't know what just happened to the TikTok feed. but we'll see what's going on. That was weird. Apparently TikTok didn't like the conversation. And I don't know why. It actually took down a live feed suggesting it was for misinformation. We haven't presented any information. Anyhow, we're just rolling on YouTube then, huh? Let me see if I can actually go to the backup profile. YouTube is actually better at this. Appreciate you few folks that are on YouTube, but YouTube has actually become better at running these programs than TikTok. About 60 to 70% of my shows feature either yours truly or a guest getting banned. It is very difficult to have a political conversation on YouTube because they ban so much shit. I don't know why, considering it's a Chinese app, but they do go way above and beyond in regards to banning stuff. I mean, for you folks that have been tuning in, program has only been going on like 10 minutes. And we asked a host of questions based on what Trump has said in regards to the election, and no one even responded yet. And that was enough for them to ban the program. That's ridiculous. But we'll try it on the backup profile. I still have no clue why something like that would have been banned. Yes, he went too far. This man has been out of line from day one, says Mr. Mark. Yeah, that's what we're going to try to get to the bottom of. Like I said, I have no clue why it was that easy to ban the program. We're going to try it on the backup profile and try to keep it moving. But it is very difficult to have political conversations when the littlest of shit can get things taken down. It actually took it down for misinformation. We hadn't given any information yet. We were just simply asking a question. So for you folks tuning in on TikTok now, we're on the backup profile. The main profile is the handsome liberal. Backup profile is the handsome liberal with the final L missing off of the name. And I see in the comments, Jermaine said that's so sad. Yeah, I don't know why that went down. No clue at all. But understand we're talking about the 2020 election and simply asking, did President Trump go too far? Whether you think the election was stolen or not, fact is there's a host of Americans that are still, at the very least, saying, show me the evidence and I'm willing to work with you. He's made a hell of a lot of allegations so far. And the evidence on some of this stuff is completely non-existent. In other cases, you may be able to make a debate, well, this is a little bit of some, they didn't follow through on that. But some of these cases, like for instance, suggesting that Biden himself took the election, there's no evidence whatsoever to show that President Biden, while a current citizen of the country in November of 2020, interfered with the election at all. Yet folks are suggesting he stole it. So that's what we're asking. Now, looking in the comments, this is one reason why to your YouTube page to see you, my brother. Grandfather's Wisdom. Yeah, for folks tuning in, 500 plus of you in here, we're slowly trying to move the program to YouTube. Currently, it is live right now on YouTube simultaneously. So if you go to the Handsome Liberal on YouTube, I am also running live at the same time right now. Gotta get the decency of the device up to par. I'm using a smartphone on TikTok, but I'm using a tablet on YouTube. So the camera and the quality on YouTube is not quite there. It's ran in landscape format versus portrait on TikTok. So we're trying to move it over for the simple reason that TikTok is banning far too much content. It's very difficult to have an open dialogue with you folks without censoring or banning you because TikTok does not really exercise any caution in who they ban. They'll ban anybody. Apparently, all you need is a few folks to complain, and that's enough to get the job done. YouTube doesn't do that. So I'm trying to move the program over to YouTube. So most of my broadcasts, including this one, are run simultaneously on YouTube at the same time. We were asking, did Trump go too far? And before we even got into the program, TikTok took down the page. I don't know why. I still don't know why. Looking in the comments, though. Understandable says D01 Nice. Yeah. Imagine banning Mr. Handsome. What a load of garbage. What about Rumble? And that's, I'll ask you that. In regards to somebody suggesting what about Rumble, I'm not aware of how that social media platform works, but I will ask folks if you're willing. Give me some ideas of a different social media platform. I'm not very knowledgeable on other platforms, but if there's one out there you think that may fit a program like this better without the excessive amount of banning, because I get banned about 1 out of every 20 shows, and I get callers. I'd say probably 60% of my shows get a caller that gets banned. Oftentimes for no reason at all. If you watch the show regularly, you hear me talking about it, but about 60% of the shows feature at least one person getting their account banned. What they consider misinformation is exceptionally mild. All right, looking in the comments, YouTube is just as bad, says JS. I haven't had it yet, maybe. I have not experienced that yet. But on TikTok, I've been doing it on TikTok for over a year, and it is really, really bad. I can go through all of my live streams, and there's just shows are just banned all over the damn place. So they don't give you any explanation. I've appealed a host of them, maybe 20 to 30% of them. I win an appeal, but it is ridiculous at how many shows get banned simply for trying to have civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any interference in this. It's very difficult to run a show when that's constantly happening. Looking in the comments, it's because of the liberal woke days we live in. A bunch of Charmans. As a liberal, I wish I could disagree with you. I really do. I do believe there's a hell of a lot of liberal responsibility in regards to how many of these shows are getting banned. I don't say it's all liberals, because folks on the right have shit that they don't like also. But I do agree that a lot of it is liberal, at least for my program, because most of my callers that face discipline lean right. So I certainly don't believe it's Republicans and MAGA that are banning them. It's either liberals viewing the program or the algorithms are set to attack folks who have a right-wing perspective. I truly believe that. Joe Biden is a senile old man. That's also, when I asked, did Trump go too far? I think that is another one where, let's say Biden is getting up in his years. There's no denying that. Let's suggest that Biden is not as mentally sharp as he used to be. That appears to be the case. But when you jump from you're slowing down in your older years to you are senile, you can't even string together two sentences and you don't know where the hell you are. That's what we're asking about going too far. Folks are making Joe Biden sound like Muhammad Ali in his last days. He's not that far out of it. He can sit up there and give a State of the Union address and respond in real time to the folks. This is where we're talking about going too far. Saying things that the evidence is just not there. The suggestion that Biden cannot string together two sentences and does not know where he's at. He's on TV a lot. The evidence is just simply not there to suggest this guy usually doesn't know where he's at. He got off the stage a couple times and went the wrong way. But to suggest he doesn't know where he's at, the evidence is just not there for that. You're going a bit too far with that. In the comments, Elite Property Care says he messes up a lot. Okay, let's take that into consideration. And I'll respond by asking, considering that his competition is likely Trump. Have you seen the tweets that come out of President Trump's account, the truth messages? Is it okay to assume that Trump is grammatically incompetent? Have you noticed everything's in caps? Oftentimes there's no periods, commas, or anything there. If you want to suggest somebody messes up a lot, the spelling is off, words are used out of context, and it is frequent if you want to talk about somebody messing up a lot. If you're going to be fair, you have to judge them both fairly. Every verbal misstep that President Biden has, Trump does the same thing grammatically on his account. Maybe you don't give a damn about Trump screw-ups and you're going to point and hold Biden accountable. I get it. But Trump's account showing what comes out of his head, you know he's tweeting this stuff out. It's clear it hasn't been proofread or edited at all. Is he not to be held accountable for the fact that he does not look like he can type a basic letter? Just want to ask that. Looking in the comments. We'll go. Let's try to go to the box because I don't know what the hell happened on the last program. 600 plus of you folks in here. I do appreciate you switching over to the other account. Looks like a few of you folks even went to YouTube because, as I said, we run the stream simultaneously live on YouTube. The Handsome Liberal on YouTube. I see a few of you folks switched over there. It's in landscape mode. Not as clear. My camera's not as good, but we'll go to the box. Pinche, Bato, Loco. This guy, I'm always hesitant when I take you on. Okay.
A little bit. I'm starting to get a little bit offended, man.
What? How so?
Well, why?
Oh no, you got it. You got an echo. Are you on Bluetooth?
I took it off. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Why haven't you looked at my links yet?
It's been less than 24 hours. I do have a day job.
Hey, this is the most important information to every American, man.
No, making money in the Biden economy is the most important information to every American. What did I miss out on?
Well, what are you gonna do when the Federal Reserve collapses?
What are you? I mean, when the Federal Reserve collapses, am I still going to have a job?
No, I'm sure you probably will, but I mean, it's not like it's gonna pay much, right?
It ain't paying much now. That's why I'm on here talking to you fine folks. What's going to be the difference in my life?
Hey, you know what? There's gonna be a big difference in life. And if you don't believe it yet, man, I'm telling you, man, you got to get on board. You got to see what's going on. You got to see the truth about things, Tim. It's very, very, very diluted because of the fact that it's so hidden from us.
I had now in talking to you, I had a guy on that was right up your alley yesterday, and I really wanted to conversate with him, but I want to ask you something because he said some things that sound like things I've heard you say as well. He suggested that currently President Biden is the president of some kind of corporation and Trump is still the commander-in-chief or something. He was the 19th guy or something. Have you heard anything like this?
Yes, that goes. Okay, now what that is that's because of the Second Declaration of Independence, and I'm gonna get blocked again because of that shit. But I'm not gonna talk about it, right?
Okay.
But Trump is the president of the Republic of the United States.
So
Biden is the president of the United States Incorporated, USA Incorporated, USA Inc. It's all. If you go into the UCC code, which is Universal Commercial Code, and you start reading that thing, you'll see for yourself.
Let me ask you though. Let me ask you this: who was the president of this corporate code before Biden? Who served before him?
Trump.
So Trump used to be the president of the corporation.
Yes, when his 45th presidency, he was the president of the corporation. However, he ended it when he wrote that declaration in July 1st of 2020.
Okay, so what?
Did the two.
So what is Trump's job right now with the country?
He's running behind the scenes the country that. Well, let's put it this way: in 2024, okay, we're gonna see an election like we've never seen in our lives. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here making predictions because, again, people like to just ban people for no reason. So I'm trying to be real cautious about it. Sucks, you know. It's really stupid that people act that way. They're childish and it's ridiculous. But, hey, so be it. And if you don't want to hear the truth because it rubs you wrong because it doesn't fit with your scenario or with your, whatever you want to call it, then hey, you got to learn how to deal with it better because cutting people off like that is just stupid. You know what I mean? And you never know.
And I don't disagree with anything you're saying there, but I'm trying to get to the bottom. So, would Biden being the president of the corporation, what does he get out of doing that? What is he actually in control of?
He's the president and CEO of the corporation. He's actually in control of nothing. the owners own are basically the people who are making the decisions after the elections. Okay, that's what's important, and it says it in the Declaration too. If you listen to it, like I've tried to get you to listen to it so many times, but you've refused to do it. If you listen to it, it explains everything perfectly. And what you're just saying right now about Trump writing, do you know what it means when something is written in all capital letters? You think
It means you're
shouting, right?
screaming. It means you're screaming.
Did you know that there's actually a legal requirement, a legal definition for things that are written in all capital letters? Do you know what the legal definition of it is? Every single time, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Every time you see something written in all capital letters, it means it's a fictitious entity that represents somebody or something for legal matters. If you look,
Did you say wait? Did you say fictitious as in fiction?
A fictitious entity that represents somebody or something for legal matters.
So why are none of the other politicians writing in all caps?
Listen, look. If you think about every company you see, look at their name. Their name is written in all capital letters. Look at your driver's license. Your name is written in all capital letters.
But that ain't what I just asked you though. That's not what I'm asking you is why does no other politician write in all caps? Are they all getting it wrong and Trump is the only one right?
No, that's what Trump has been. That's been the basis of his entire running and his entire campaigning. His entire presidency was all based on taking down that deep state. The deep state is all part of the corporation. They're all part of the corporation. It goes back to 1871. I tried to tell you about this before.
Okay. All right.
It goes back to 1871 with Abraham Lincoln.
So you said that Biden currently is in control of nothing. So would you explain to me if Biden is in control of nothing, why is Trump and folks that support Trump blaming him for everything? He's not in control of anything, according to you.
It's all part of the greatest show on earth.
Who is performing the show?
Every one of them is an actor performing the show.
It's Trump an actor.
Trump is in some sense he's behaving as an actor, in other senses he's behaving as a living human being.
Where can we find people who are being real, keeping it real, being themselves and not acting?
The entire system is a fraud.
Was it a fraud when Trump was running it?
Yes, it was.
So maybe he's not the guy we should put back in power then.
It's not that his choice that it was like that. It was like that because that's how the system was set up since the beginning. Okay, it wasn't like this until after 1871. You got to know your history, man.
Yeah, no shit. Go ahead.
In 1863, Lincoln put us into a state of emergency. That's what you call martial law today, okay? And he put us into a state of emergency when he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, which actually didn't free the slaves. It actually just it made everybody equally enslaved. And so basically, back then when that happened, he put us in a state of emergency. Well, that state of emergency gave him extra power. Okay, the president had extra power to control things.
What does that got to do with now? What does that have to do with right now?
In 1865, they killed him, and in 1865, after he was killed, Grant took over. Grant was a Southern Democrat. Abraham Lincoln was a Northern Republican.
What does that have to do with now in 20? You're 200 years ago.
Grant came in, and the owners of the Federal Reserve Bank.
To the surprise of no one, they took down my last caller. Once again, this is what I'm talking about. TikTok does not allow folks to speak. The program is still running on YouTube. Everything he just said is on YouTube, but TikTok did not like what he was saying. That's what we're talking about. Interrupted that man right in the middle of his conversation. Now, obviously, me and that guy disagree on every damn thing in existence. I don't necessarily buy into any of that, but I want to hear what he had to say. There are people, I get them all day, every day, that agree with what he's saying. I wanted to know why. I want to know where that comes from. We can talk about Letterman on Sesame Street brought to you by the letter Q. I get it, but I want to know why. Where does that come from? We like to get to the bottom of it, but it's almost impossible to have a conversation online without the actual social media page interrupting the conversation with a ban. Just happened. Look it in the comments. Guess the Chinese hate the truth, says Martin B. The Chinese hate the conversation. I don't know if you were listening to the truth. Going back to the box, that guy out of his mind says, Craig Lynch. Me and Les Carlin doesn't agree on anything, but I do believe in the preservation of free speech. Just because you ban someone does not mean you change what's in their hearts and minds. That guy still believes what he believes. Preventing them from saying it on social media actually prevents other people from finding out what's going on and having a conversation with him. Doesn't stop him from proceeding to go to an echo chamber somewhere where they can all state it. Someone like myself, or maybe you, who may have a difference of opinion, should be allowed into the conversation. But thanks to TikTok, it's almost impossible for that to happen. Looking in the comments, conspiracy theories only fuel more lies. Carrie Lynn, conspiracy theories are always going to be with us. It is in our best interest to have someone maybe on the other side of the debate to be able to ask questions to maybe make folks actually start thinking and getting folks on the other side of the debate. But if you allow a conspiracy theory to fluctuate only in an environment where everybody believes the same shit, AKA an echo chamber, nothing gets accomplished. We could actually make some inroads if we had social media pages that let us have a conversation with each other. Anyhow, 600 plus of you folks in here, tap the screen, get your boy up to 20,000 likes. I do appreciate those who are with me. Same for you folks that are on YouTube. He should have said on the live. I don't know what the hell he could have said. So many folks get banned or blocked on TikTok. I don't know. There's so many words. Pew pew, grape, all of this shit is changing the American language. As someone who isn't completely savvy on the internet, when I first started running debates on TikTok, it took me about a month to figure out what the hell people were talking. Why are you deliberately saying words that make no damn sense? Who the hell grapes a woman? But I don't even like grapes. What the hell is a grape? Unalived. Where did you learn English at? Obviously, pew pew is used every damn where, but it took me a minute to figure out what people were even talking about. Because TikTok is literally making folks change their language because they banned so many words. Going back to the box. Wow. Mr. Krabs, 14. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Whatever we have left of a program. Asking the question, Krabs, did Trump go too far in regards to the 2020 election, making a host of claims that folks are still asking, where is the proof? What do you think?
I'm a fan of Trump for sure. I'm not like the QAnon guy. I'm pretty sure that was Q. The whole Trump isn't president, Biden isn't president, Trump is. Right. That's not me.
Where did that? Before we go into your answer, where did that stuff come from? You said Q. How did that fabricate out of thin air?
Q. My take on that is it was a government honeypot type thing where the feds released a little bit of true information and then with a bunch of lies to try to trick people around because there was a lot of interesting information getting leaked with WikiLeaks around John Podesta, his emails. So I think in an effort to try to cover this up, they sort of just blasted tons and tons of crazy conspiracies all over the internet to kind of muddy the water.
So is Q
anyone who talks about this stuff?
Is Q an actual human being? Is it artificial intelligence? What is Q? It's like a variable in algebra. What is representative of Q? What is that?
Oh, okay. So it was these are data drops by verified posters on forums. So it would be one poster would post a huge data drop and it would say all the criminals are in the sewers. We're flooding the sewers. Hillary's going to jail. They're all in Guantanamo. Trump is the acting president. This is all just what they're saying.
So let me ask you this: as a fan of Q, how do you view President Trump coming out on stage wearing a Q lapel pin?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff like that, but
Why would he do
I
that?
don't know. If he's,
Why would he do that?
I don't know if he's playing up to it or just like I don't know if he's like trolling or like what he's doing.
That doesn't look like trolling. That looks like supporting.
Yeah, but all that stuff is so freaking weird. Like if you like dig into that stuff, like they're telling all these like it's like the opposite of what you would want like a real patriot to do. They're like stand back, stand by, don't do it. It's like throw your hands up in the air, don't worry, Trump's got it all. Hillary's gonna be arrested. All the
So how did you, that's what I'm asking. So how did you feel when Trump came out there wearing a Q lapel pin?
I think it was funny. I don't know. I'm not like a Q person. I think it's weird and fake, and it's by the feds.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So I'm asking a question in regards to that election. Whether it's find me 11,000 votes suggesting that Biden took the election, you know. Once again, TikTok did what TikTok does. So the program is down, at least for TikTok's purpose. I see you folks that are on YouTube, but TikTok is once again banned that one. So both of those pages are down. I don't know if I'm even going to continue running the program on TikTok. I'm actually trying to figure out a way to get it better to you folks on YouTube because TikTok continues to take it down. I mean, we're never going to be able to have conversations on really anything because whatever's going on with the censorship at TikTok, it's just too great. It's too difficult to get around. Like I said, we're not exactly having, you know, Archie Bunker type conversations. I don't know what can be done because the censorship is just that strong. I do see a few of you folks have came over from TikTok. As you guys can see, TikTok did take the program down, but I do see a few more of you guys came here on YouTube. I'm gonna certainly try to run the program on YouTube as frequently as possible and try to get the camera equipment better because obviously right now, you know, and the problem is finding out how to do callers on YouTube because TikTok is really set up perfectly for a program like this, but the censorship is far too great. And that's what makes it almost impossible to have a program. I mean, I'm getting callers banned, like I said, 60, 70% of the programs. And it's even happening to me. As you see this time, it happened to me. Probably about 1 out of every 20 shows, I get banned. So it's very difficult to run a program. I like to put the repeats on YouTube so folks that want to hear it, because I've had people ask me, you know, I want to hear the show and I'm working during the day. You know, listen, I'm willing to put the repeat on YouTube if somebody wants to do that. But with them banning so many shows, I don't get access anymore. Because once they ban the show or ban a caller, they also ban you from having access to it. And it happens so damn much that at the end of the day, I can't present any type of decent content. And it's clear a hell of a lot of you folks enjoy what we're doing. I get hundreds, oftentimes well over 1,000 folks show up when we have the shows. It's very, informative from both the caller's aspect and yours truly. Now, when it comes to folks, like we talked about conspiracy theories and things of that nature, whether you think somebody is spot on or a complete kook, it behooves you to know what is out there. As a voter, as a citizen, it helps to be informed. A lot of the conspiracy theories that you hear on the broadcast, a lot of folks have never heard this stuff at all. So at the very least, you're getting to hear how people feel, how people think, and where they stand on shit. So it'll help you understand why they may formulate opinions that are totally different than yours. That's what the whole purpose of the program is to bring you that type stuff. But as I stated before, TikTok makes political conversations almost impossible. Now, there's a hell of a lot of echo chambers all up and down TikTok where you go to a live stream and everybody in the box has a red hat on, or everybody is criticizing Trump and saying hateful shit about the right. We try to run a program where both sides get to speak As you know, I do not talk down to guests. I do not entertain talking down to guests. I believe everybody should speak, whether you agree or disagree, and we have a decent conversation. Now, I'll challenge you on any damn thing you say, particularly if it sounds ridiculous, and we let the viewers come to a conclusion. But there's no way you can run that when half of the English language is being banned by TikTok, where a person cannot, as they say, speak freely. Because most of the shit they may believe in, TikTok doesn't want nobody to hear it. This isn't Archie Bunker. That's not necessary. It's just not necessary. I don't know what TikTok uses for its algorithm. I don't know if the program is full of liberal trolls that are reporting people like crazy. I actually do not know what it is. But what I am going to promise you that I'm trying to do is find a better avenue to deliver the content so that we can continue to engage with each other on a platform that doesn't have the amount of censorship that comes from TikTok. It's just too great. It's just too great. Looking in the comments, now you can leave comments here. I can see your comments, but I don't know how to go live. Mr. Rottweiler says people turned him in. It could be that. Could be that. And that goes back to what I was saying before, is that there should be some sort of scrutiny from TikTok to prevent folks who are trolling or folks who are just hating. You know, this guy got 1,000 viewers, or here's a black guy with a MAGA hat. I don't like that. So I'm just going to start reporting people. TikTok should have something in place to first verify if the person reporting is doing it from a genuine perspective. As opposed to they just may disagree with the fact that you got a whole lot more viewers in your life than they have in theirs. TikTok should not entertain that or allow that to happen. I'm going to assume that that certainly happens. I get a viewer in the program. Maybe they don't like what a liberal had to say, or they don't like what a conservative had to say, or they don't like maybe how I handled the conversation during debate. If they get off of the conversation and then just start reporting people, they can take down a whole live. How the hell does that happen? So yeah, the censorship with TikTok, it's too cautionary. You know, where they act in an abundance of caution. Anybody who says something was said, no verification or anything. Just take it down first and ask questions later. How can you run a program like that? I wanted to discuss whether Trump went too far. I can ask you folks in the comments, because I do see a lot of comments coming in. Do a podcast, says Kenneth Lynch. Yeah, I would have to. Like I said, I'm not very internet savvy. I think we have a decent program, a decent audience. I enjoy speaking with you folks, but I would have to figure out how to set all that shit up. TikTok was just perfect for it until they did that. TikTok puts you out to a lot of people, but are reckless towards banning people. Yeah, it's a great way of stating it there in the comments. Hang on a second here. It's a great way of stating it. Now I'm losing where my comment. Hang on a second. Is to my tablet that you're watching me on now. Not only does it not have the camera is not as high quality, but just the CPU in it altogether, it's not as, you know. So doing it on the phone just provides a better show. Maybe I'll start doing the live streams on YouTube on the smartphone, because TikTok is just starting to be an undesirable way to do it. Let me see your comments. Have you looked into Clapper? Let me write some of these down, because I've never heard these social media pages. Somebody also said Twitch. I don't know. Snuggles did it, says Tramika Turner Reels. Me and Snuggles leans right. Snuggles is obviously a Trump supporter, but I consider him a friend of the program. I don't think Snuggles would do that, because he's always invited me on his lives, and we have a good conversation. Tim, listen to the Union Gang. His content is strong opposition, and he's not been banned. You have a good show. Haven't heard of the Union Gang, Beth Allen Robinson? I'll write it down, perhaps check it out. But I would like to know why he is not getting banned and why I'm getting banned so damn much. I do appreciate a hell of a lot of you folks coming from TikTok to YouTube. I can see that in the reflection that there's almost, there's several dozen of you in here. You can do it on YouTube with StreamYard. Yeah, all of this shit you guys are saying I've never heard of before. Never heard of these terms. StreamYard, I'll have to look that one up as well. Or Instagram, I've never figured that one out. Can you do live streams with callers on Instagram? I mean, it's really fucked up. TikTok is like the 6th largest social media platform, and they ban people like that. Tim, do you have a TikTok rep? I didn't know you could get one of those. Is that for real? That's what I fucking need. A TikTok representative? You can get that? Union Gang is a liberal too, and he's way more controversial in the comments. M. Cole. I'll definitely check him out. Union Gang. You have a lot of trolls in your lives, says Mr. Mark. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. I mean, my audience grew rather quickly. I mean, like I said, I've only been doing it for about a year, so my audience grew rather quickly. And that's quite possible. Some people could be hating. I don't know. You can have guests on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The YouTube is where I want to... Who does the least amount of banning? Because in regards to being controversial, there's a lot of shit I want to say that I can't always say as well. Because I do fear the quantity of bans that TikTok throws down the pipe. I would probably be a bit more controversial if I was really allowed to speak freely. YouTube is probably the best. Okay, we'll aim in that direction. A mod would help you kind of settle things down, bro. Yeah, but then that's not free speech. Listen, I've been doing the program for over a year without a mod, not even one mod. I don't like the moderators because moderators have a political bias as well. If you're a liberal or you're a Trump supporter or a Republican, you're going to favor things that the other side would likely moderate out of the program. I believe in just letting the people speak. It's TikTok that needs a moderator to stop them from banning every damn people. No, don't get a mod. Yeah, I had one guy a couple months or so, and I even told him personally, do not mod anyone without sending me a message first. Because he was a Trump supporter, he was MAGA, and I was like, do not start moderating every damn body and fucking up the program. And we've been able to continue the program. I don't think I've had anybody moderated out of my program where I've actually blocked a viewer or blocked somebody based on their comment. Probably in at least 6 months or more. I had one guy throwing around the N-word, and I actually told him, I am blocking you for your own good to prevent your account from being taken down. But he was throwing out the N-word. I get everybody calling me Uncle Tom, sellouts, Uncle Ruckus. I get that on every program. I don't ban those people. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. I let them know you're talking to a guy who leans left. You just see the hat and you make this comment. But I don't block or ban them. So I don't really favor getting mods. And as much as they block you, I don't know if it would even work. No muting, man. You're canceling free speech. We don't do that here. Yeah, Brown's backer. Brown's backer, hey, good to see you on this side of the platform. Brown's backer, for instance, we are totally opposing. We have totally opposing political views. He's MAGA. I lean left. But I enjoy hearing his comments or reading his comments all the time and appreciate him coming over here to YouTube. There's no excuse for personal insults. No, there's not. But we are in a tribalistic environment currently where it's happening even at the upper echelons of politics. So it is what it is. We try to limit the personal insults by calling them out, but just like I said before, just because you stop someone from saying something online does not mean they're not saying it. I cannot believe you got banned. Well, I could probably file an appeal. I haven't done that yet. I probably will win it, particularly on my main account, because there was no statement made. It was just me asking questions. Clearly somebody got overzealous on the reporting. So it's possible that both of my pages will be brought back up. I will file an appeal. I win a lot of the appeals. And what I got banned for today, I should be. Now, my second page, I did have a QAnon, you know, a Q, however you pronounce it. I did have someone from Q giving his opinions. Maybe not on that one. But the first page, absolutely nothing was said. It was not even 10 minutes into the broadcast. I was asking questions, giving a monologue, setting up today's conversation. And they banned it based on that. A lot of people have trigger words in your chat that gets you banned, bro. Yeah. And how the hell are you supposed to step over that minefield? How do you supposed to step over that? Trigger words. What the hell? It could be anything. I could read out the lyrics to an NWA rap song and hit some of them words. This stuff is out here, folks. It's crazy that they're banning folks like this. I see lives with 8 people in the box and they're cursing and acting up and never seem to get banned. Might be because on my program, because it's only one caller, the way I like that format, I prefer that format, they can actually hear it. If it's 8 people talking at the same time, maybe the computers or whatever the hell they're using can't hear it. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Looking in the comments though, I recognize his voice. That guy gets banned every time he joins the live. He does, but I like to hear what he has to say. He believes that Trump wrote a second Declaration of Independence. He believes that Trump is still the president or the commander-in-chief or something like that. Listen, I don't believe any of it, but I like to hear him orate it and present challenges to him, because he's not the only one that believes that. There are tens of thousands of Americans that believe the stuff he's saying. Had a guy on the program yesterday that suggested that Trump is the 19th president of America and he's still in charge to some degree. I asked him, well, who was the 18th president? He didn't know. He didn't know. So, but I want to ask those questions. Just real quick in the comments, we'll run it briefly. I don't know how well we can do it without the callers, but we were asking, has Trump went too far in regards to the 2020 election? We're not here to say it was stolen or not. I understand Trump believes one side, the left, and Republicans believe the other side. However, when I say went too far, when we ask the question, did he go too far? We're talking about from some of the claims. Here's a few, this is a half a dozen examples. Find me 11,000 votes. Now, obviously, he's been indicted for this. Is it criminal? Is it not? We'll figure that out later. Is it just simply free speech, or is it a criminal act? The courts will have to deal with that. But is asking the governor in the middle of an election to find you a presidential candidate 11,000 votes, is that going too far? After all, it's not the governor's job to find votes for a specific candidate. How would we have acted if Biden called Governor Kemp and said, find me 10,000 votes? It's not the governor's job to find you votes. The proper response from, say, Governor Kemp of Georgia, sir, the election is still ongoing. The officials are tallying the votes and we will release the results in kind. It's not my job to go out looking for you votes. Why is he calling the governor specifically, asking this guy to go out and find them votes? Biden stole the election. Once again, is that going too far? Did he steal the election? Listen, Trump states he'll have proof coming out. He hasn't proved so far, 3 years later almost, that Biden, who was currently a citizen, wasn't even a politician at that time in November of 2020. The claim that Biden stole the election. I'm asking, did Trump go too far? Is there any evidence that Biden in 2020 stole the election? Because that's a claim being made. Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, is a rhino. Is that going too far? Mike Pence served with Trump his entire administration. Obviously, on January 6th, he did not do what Trump was asking him to do in refusing to certify the election, giving Trump maybe more time to investigate or whatever the case may be. But the fact that Mike Pence did not do what Trump asked Does that completely eradicate the notion that he's a Republican to actually suggest he is now only a Republican in name only? Did everything he done, from being a congressman to being the governor of Indiana to being the vice president of the United States, is all of that gone because of what he did on January 6th, where he is now only a Republican in name only? Did Trump go too far mislabeling him as a Republican in name only? Next, the suggestion won by a landslide. I know I may be freezing on this thing. I don't even know if you guys can hear me or not, because I'm looking at my tablet. It's indicating my video is off. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Mr. Trump is crazy as hell. Kemp has zero reason to lie. He would know if Georgia was stolen. That is a good point. Once again, it leads to the question, is it possible to disagree with Trump and still be a respectable Republican? I see you guys say you can hear me. Yeah, the video is free. Okay. All right. Well, so, and I do agree. I don't know what reason Governor Kemp has to lie either. I don't know. But Trump is honestly suggesting that the governor of Georgia, a Republican, lied about what happened in the 2020 election. Next, the notion that Trump won by a landslide. Now remember, most of the questions I'm only asking the question of, did Trump go too far? I'm not saying he's lying. I'm not saying he didn't win. Maybe he won. We're talking about maybe versus actual proof. Trump won by a landslide. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But is there enough proof? Because Trump stated this on election night. Has he presented enough proof nearly 3 years later to defend the claim that he's still making, by the way? He's still saying he won by a landslide. Have you seen enough evidence from Trump to make you believe definitively that he won the 2020 election by a landslide? Because that's what he's saying. Remember the difference between maybe and actual proof. Ruby Freeman, the mother and daughter team down in Georgia, want to talk about whether they're boarding up windows at polling places, refusing to let election investigators stand over their shoulder, pushing them back 25 feet when they would rather be 6 feet closer so they can see what you're doing with the ballots. Ruby Freeman, the mother and daughter team, stealing votes, altering votes in favor of Biden. Once again, maybe versus actual proof. Have you seen enough actual proof that Ruby Freeman was helping the liberals? Or have you seen things that look suspicious and suspicious only? Remember, just because something looks suspicious doesn't guarantee it actually is a crime or a bad act. If I tell you you got to stand 25 feet back instead of 6, maybe that means I'm trying to hide something. But it doesn't mean it for certain. Maybe I just don't want you that close to me. So we're talking about actual proof versus maybe. Because Trump is not alleging maybe. He's alleging this stuff happened. He's not saying because Ruby Freeman and the mom and daughter team would not let us stand close enough, it looks suspicious. No, he's saying they were cheating. He is actually saying they were cheating. Last but not least, Dominion voting machines. We talked about this before, that there was some evidence presented that those machines did not look secure in terms of the internet. Where a computer savvy hacker who knew what he was doing could possibly tap into the machines and maybe switch votes or maybe do something else. But just because the machines may have not been secure or open to somebody to hack them, does not mean it actually did happen. Trump is not alleging that the machines could be hacked. He's saying they were hacked in favor of Biden. Maybe versus actual proof. Did Trump go too far in making these accusations? on the grounds that all of this stuff did happen. Trump didn't say maybe on any of this stuff. He said it actually happened. Did he go too far? That's what we were trying to run and trying to ask on TikTok. Wanted to hear your opinions. If Trump was black, would any of this be going on? I think the indictments would be going on. It probably would have happened sooner if Trump was black. If Obama was doing this shit, calling all Democrats traitors and rhinos or dinos. What, I don't even know. What is the name for a Democrat in name only? I've never heard somebody call a Democrat a dino or traitor. Or we don't, as Democrats, we don't really use those words. Patriot, we don't talk like that. So I don't know what a Democrat would even refer to somebody if they did something like that. But we haven't been doing that type of stuff. But if Trump was black, would this be going on? That's very, very funny. I see somebody, Brownsbacker said, oh my God, Ruby Freeman. Well, Ruby Freeman could possibly be coming into a lot of money because they are suing folks for saying all of that shit about them. They testified at the January 6th hearings that their lives is fucked up. People were sending them death threats and all kinds of shit because the Trump administration got folks believing that they were stealing votes for Biden. Same thing with Ray Epps out there at the January 6th gathering, saying his life is fucked up because they're saying all kinds of stuff about him. If this stuff actually happened, so be it. But if it's made up, you're destroying innocent people. Just like folks believe that QAnon Shaman was led into the Capitol building. For those who saw the Tucker Carlson video, it does appear that they could have arrested the guy and maybe he got railroaded in terms of his charges. Well, that's the same thing that's happening to Ray Epps and Ruby Freeman. They're being railroaded. People are saying things about them that are not true. And it's coming from the highest levels of the Trump administration. Rudolph Giuliani, by far, is the author of a lot of this stuff that's destroying people. I would say Rudolph Giuliani and probably Sidney Powell, both of them have said a lot of things about a lot of stuff that has not been proven. Ray Epps is on camera actually telling people to go into the building. There's a whole bunch of them on camera yelling 1776 and hang Mike Pence and stuff like that. How does Ray Epps actually become the only person charged with instigating? We believe, talking to my beloved MAGA, that the folks that were on the lawn chanting hang Mike Pence, they didn't commit a crime at all. But Ruby Freeman, or not Ruby Freeman, but Ray Epps telling you to go in the building, he did. If you're going to accuse Ray Epps of instigating, then everybody chanting hang Mike Pence should get the same accusation, right? Just because it didn't happen doesn't mean you weren't instigating. There were a lot of folks chanting hang Mike Pence. Why aren't they being accused of instigating? I mean that's what we're saying. We're trying to suggest that, well, Ray Epps said do it and they actually did it. They didn't hang Mike Pence. Maybe that has something to do with the fact they couldn't get a hold of him. You're wildly uninformed about January 6th. The people calling for the hanging of Mike Pence are being rounded up. How do you know all who were saying it? How do you know all? Hell, even Trump said maybe he deserved that. Should he be rounded up too? You got to give me more than that. They literally are. The FBI is raiding their homes at gunpoint. Yikes. It was a bad day. As the song says, so you had a bad day, it didn't work out. You got to turn it around or something like that. There is a database online. Really? I'd be curious to see that. Chance Lee was openly escorted around. It's on video. And I'll tell you this also, for folks talking about, this is the same person saying all of this. In regard, and that's layman's terms, a lot of name, appreciate you here. Like I've said before, in regards to Ray Epps being an instigator, here's where you lose me at. You flew all the way out there to support President Trump, to defend democracy and prevent the liberals from taking the election from him. Trump says go to the Capitol building and do it peacefully. And it's only a mile or two of a walk from where Trump gave that speech to the Capitol building. And somehow in that little short walk, the man who you came out to defend, you let Ray Epps convince you to do something that goes totally against what Trump told you to do, and you don't even know who Ray Epps is? If you want to suggest that Ray Epps is working for the feds, the liberals, Antifa, Black Lives Matter or something, you got to assume these people are total idiots. Trump is right in your face telling you to go peacefully. You totally ignored Trump and you listen to this dude. He could be a Fed. You don't know who the hell this guy is. Why would you ignore Trump and listen to Ray Epps? Based on the sheer level of stupidity in regards to that, maybe you deserve to be arrested. Why would you come all the way out here, travel hundreds, perhaps a few thousand miles to hear and defend Trump and throw it all away listening to some guy you don't know from Adam? If you got arrested and you want to blame Ray Epps, that is really your fault. Why would you come out here and listen to this dude after he just told you go there peacefully? That's your fault, period. I don't even know why Ray Epps should come up. You are a grown-ass man or woman. If somebody tells you to go rob a bank, you don't rob the bank and then get to blame them for telling you to do it. You know if going into the building is legal or not. You don't get to blame another person for you acting once you're over 21. You cannot see what they're doing looks uncivilized, looks like it's criminal. You see folks battling with the police. You're telling me a stranger could convince you to battle with the Capitol Police, climb walls and break windows? That's not Ray Epps. That's an adult being irresponsible. I don't even know why Ray Epps' name comes up in it. None of us could go out and commit a felony and blame somebody for telling us to do it. You're old enough to know right from wrong. Some of those folks are actual cops. There's a Chicago police officer that's been charged with going in the Capitol building. Ray Epps doesn't even fit into the damn conversation. Ray Epps should not even be coming up unless you're arresting him too. But charging somebody with instigating is insane. You're an adult. You don't get to blame some other adult for telling you to commit a crime. If the country's elections were stolen, though, what is the answer? Well, first of all, the answer is proof. The answer would be a proof in a hell of a lot of indictments. If you can show that liberals or even Republicans that are never Trumpers actively worked in concert to steal the election, they should get the RICO-like charges they're getting down in Georgia, because they claim they can show that Trump and a host of his associates were working together in concert to steal the election. If it happened on the liberal side, they should be prosecuted. That is the answer. Now, Biden has been in office almost the entire term. We're coming up on year 3. It would take longer than that at this point to prove that the election was stolen. So Biden is going to serve 4 years. I don't think there's not enough time to prove otherwise when you compare how much evidence that Trump has presented that the election has been stolen. I don't see where he's presented any more evidence in August of 2023 than he had presented in December of 2020. So first, the evidence has to be produced. If you're going to try to say that the liberals took the election, there's a lot more evidence that needs to be produced. Also, you got to strengthen your credibility. If the liberals took the election, give us the ways they took the election and stick to those ways. The way the Trump administration and Trump supporters have produced the information is that they literally threw everything against the wall in hopes of something would stick. Dead people, illegal immigrants voting, Dominion voting machines, Ruby Freeman, folks changing information at ballot offices, ballot harvesting, mailbox stuff. I mean, they came up with everything. You gotta present information where when it's investigated, it doesn't get thrown out, because then your credibility starts to be challenged. person is just saying any damn thing. And there's a whole lot of this stuff that they've kind of moved away from. Attorney General Barr has probably been the worst at showing that this stuff is not true. Attorney General Barr has testified or stated that he's willing to testify under oath, and he told Trump, the claims you're making are unsubstantiated. It was Attorney General's job to track down the election fraud that Trump was claiming and find out if there was any validity to it. He is saying he's willing to testify under oath that he did exactly that and came back and told the president. This didn't happen. And yet Trump continues saying that it did. Now we know Trump didn't have access to Ruby Freeman. Trump didn't have access to voting machines. Attorney General Barr would. He has the power of subpoenaing folks and getting folks to come into court dates and shit. Trump don't have access to any of this stuff. So if the guy who had power to do the investigation and look into what you're claiming comes back and tells you it's unfounded, what's making you keep saying it's not? That's what we're talking about. The evidence has to be there. And it does not sound like, at least up to now, that is there. 1, Trump loves the poorly educated. Oh my God. Barr can testify all day long. That's not evidence. Barr denied the investigators resources when they were asking for it. Actually, Barr is responsible for following up on the claims that Trump was making. His testimony is going to mean a lot. Trump is claiming that this guy is very credible. This guy only has a job because Trump gave it to him. Now you're going to show up in court and say the guy I hired is incompetent? That's what we're suggesting, is that Trump put the guy in charge, sent the guy out to investigate his claims, and the guy comes back and says your claims are unfounded, and suddenly he's incompetent. And he's going to do that with Mike Pence and a host of others. His claim in court is going to be that all of my administration is incompetent. And they wouldn't have jobs if it weren't for me? I don't see how that works. I don't see how that works. Barr lied, says layman terms. You're going to have to prove evidence. You're going to have to present evidence of that too. And when it comes to the Dominion machines, whether it was Trump, Rudolph Giuliani, Sidney Powell, we know a hell of a lot of lying was coming from the Trump administration. That's what I said. It's going to be an issue with credibility. You're saying the election is stolen, but it appears that in the process of claiming the election was stolen, a lot of evidence stated is not true. I don't think there's anybody at this point that is worth $1 is going to go out and publicly state that Dominion voting machine stole votes for Biden anymore, after seeing what happened to Fox News, Tucker Carlson, and a host of others. So right now, the Dominion voting machine claims are completely lacking of credibility. Not one person is going to go out and say that shit anymore. So all of that time spent by Rudolph Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and President Trump himself claiming that the Dominion voting machines were switching votes to Biden makes them look very, very uncredible, or if there is a such word, lacking credibility. Because they can't prove that. And they don't even want to say it anymore because they're fearing Dominion will hold them accountable for that bullshit. So if you're going to say the election is stolen, it doesn't look good when people can push back and say, well, you lied about that, you lied about that. That ain't true. Find where something was done wrong and stick to that where you actually have evidence. The Dominion thing is a complete fuck up. There's no way around it. The Dominion claims is a complete fuck up. And they don't have a way out of that. Michigan poll workers openly saw it happen. That's not going to supersede Attorney General Barr. Wouldn't supersede him on any set. You're going to get a regular, everyday, average poll worker that is going to say something. You expect that to supersede the head of the federal government, the head of the Attorney General? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You got to come with more evidence than that. If you're willing to believe Attorney General Barr is capable of lying, what makes you think the poll workers are not? I mean, they didn't testify under oath. It's not going to work that way. Put them under oath, maybe we could have a conversation. Looking in the comments here. Barr didn't do any, that's not true in regards to Barr not doing any investigation. The man has already stated he's willing to testify under oath. He is the guy who headed the investigation. And he stated he's willing to testify under oath. If he's lying, then he'll be held accountable for perjury. Period. So if you're right and he didn't do any investigation, he'll be held accountable for perjury. But he's already stated along with Mike Pence. Mike Pence has also stated that he'll testify under oath. That he told Trump several times that the stuff you're claiming has been looked into and it's not true. Because obviously Trump is now claiming that whether the election was stolen or not, he has First Amendment free speech rights to say it was, whether it's true or not. And the argument is you can't say something if you know it's not true and you're inciting outrage. Trump is saying, I can say it. I have a First Amendment free speech right to say it. I didn't know it wasn't stolen. Now you got your number 1 and 2 people admitting or stating they're willing to go under oath and state that we told this guy several times he had lost, and he continues saying he won. So that could be a problem. I just want to present that to you. That could be a problem when the people who are responsible for verifying your claim of whether the election was stolen or not are testifying under oath that they told you, no, that didn't happen. Rudolph Giuliani is another, because Rudolph Giuliani has admitted, for instance, the Dominion voting machines. Rudolph Giuliani is coming out and admitting that some of the claims he made in favor of Trump's claim the election was stolen are not true. That's not helping either. That so many members of Trump's inner circle, elite members of his inner circle, are coming out and admitting, yeah, we were lying about that. How many things does Rudolph Giuliani have to admit that they were lying about before the credibility goes to shit? And he's coming out and admitting that stuff. Looking in the comments here. Do appreciate you folks rolling with your boy. So inciting outrage at Republic is not a crime, but if Trump does it, kill him. I didn't say nothing about taking a man's life. I didn't even say nothing about locking the guy up. I only asked, did he go too far? Is he making claims that are simply the way he feels or have solid evidence? Solid evidence. That's what we're asking. Because he's still saying he won by a landslide. He's still saying he's going to present proof. He was supposed to do it the other day and canceled the meeting. So it's only election issues in states Trump lost. Jay Smooth, that is an excellent question. Because the notion that a lesser populated state like Arizona had cheating, but a big ass state like Texas or heavily metropolitan state like Florida was all done honestly, makes no sense at all. We've talked about this before, where Trump was alleging voter fraud was taking place in North Carolina, right up into the election. But he won North Carolina by a small margin. And the moment he won, all of the claims of fraud disappeared. He no longer was complaining about it. To this day, he is no longer talking about Florida was a fraudulent election. Or not Florida, but North Carolina. He is no longer talking about it. If his job, his goal was to stop election fraud, he should still be bitching about North Carolina. He's not. The moment he won the state, he didn't have nothing else to say about it anymore. So as opposed to being a president, trying to make sure that elections are held rightfully so, he comes across as a president that was just focused on winning. I don't want fraud in the election unless I win in that state. If it's fraud in my favor, I don't really care. But if it's fraud in favor of the liberals, we need to get to the bottom of it. That's how it looks by him totally ignoring the fraud he claimed existed in North Carolina. He don't seem to have any interest in getting to the bottom of what happened in North Carolina where he claimed there was fraud in. He's not talking about it at rallies. There's not a single court case was filed in that state by the Trump administration. Nothing. Not one complaint about fraud in North Carolina that he alleged was happening since he won that state's electoral college votes. That doesn't make any sense at all other than to say, I'm not concerned with fraud. I'm just concerned with losing. Like I said, credibility is an issue. And that right there looks very, very much lacking of credibility. Gray Clouds, love the name. Well, there's lots of other shit to complain about. Not when it looks biased, it's not. Not when you're only complaining about things that are not in your... No, it doesn't. You gotta bring that up. If your number one complaint is that the election was held fraudulently, why are you ignoring states where you suggested fraud happened and focusing hard on other states? Why are some states getting your attention and others are not? There's no explanation to that. There's no way to justify that other than I'm only focused on the states I lost. There's no way to make an excuse up for doing that. No way at all. Looking in the comments, what Hobbs did in Arizona, same crap. Okay, that's fine. But that doesn't justify Trump. Pointing to other bad behavior does not justify your bad behavior. If you're caught speeding, pointing to other cars that are speeding does not justify what you're doing. That's what it sounds like you're trying to do. Wrong is wrong. He got away with it, so should I. That doesn't fly. Pretty sure North Carolina is part of his reports. You haven't read those reports. Pretty sure you're not correct. I am pretty sure you're not correct. Because if Trump won by a landslide, then how does he know that the votes in the electoral votes he received in North Carolina, if it's fraud, how do you know you got those? How do you know you won that state? He's claiming he won all of the states like Georgia and Wisconsin. Why hasn't he suggested that maybe Biden won North Carolina? It's not in his reports. It's not. It's not in his efforts. It has not been in his investigation. You haven't heard Rudolph Giuliani going to North Carolina at all. They completely left that state alone the moment they won it. They didn't do anything with North Carolina. That's what we're talking about. And there's no excuse for that. I appreciate you trying to make one up. There's no excuse for that. Wrong is wrong. Feels like only toward conservatives. In regards to the 2020 election, what did the Democrats do that was wrong? I'd like to know. That's been proven. Other conservatives to speak about voter fraud. I'd love to know it. Like I said, we're not here to say it wasn't stolen. We're here to ask, where is the proof? Where is the evidence? And did he go too far with some of his accusations? That's all we're asking. I don't know how a presidential candidate calling a governor of a state and saying, find me votes. I'm not saying it's a crime. We'll let the courts figure that out. But is it the governor's job to find votes for a particular candidate? Why are you calling the governor? That's not his job to find you votes. It's not his job to interfere with the election at all. Either you won and the voting officials will tell you, or you lost. It's not the governor's job to get involved and specifically find a candidate votes. That's all we're asking. Did he go too far? That's all we're asking. Looking in the comments. The broken water pipe. I'm hearing all of this stuff. The problem is we're hearing too much of it. They should have pointed, here's the point I'm trying to make. In regards to the claims of fraud that took place, there's a difference between claims and substantiated claims. What maybe could have happened and what actually did happen. Most of the claims of election fraud are based on suspicious or circumstantial evidence. But as I've stated before, just because something could have happened doesn't mean it did happen. If the polling officials board up windows so you cannot see inside, that looks suspicious as hell. But does it automatically mean they're cheating? No, it does not. You don't know why they're boarding up the windows. What the Trump team seems to have done is that they have made assumptions that everything that looked suspicious was representative of a crime, and that every crime that happened was in favor of President Biden. You can't make that leap. You cannot make that leap. That anything suspicious automatically led to something happening that benefited Joe Biden. That is what has been taking place. No proof is needed at all. If they're doing something that looks weird, it has to be to help Joe Biden. Even the movie 2,000 Mules, which I've seen a half dozen times, pointed out a hell of a lot of shit that looked really suspicious. I'm not going to deny that. But they assumed every single suspicious looking issue they saw represented a vote for Joe Biden. Without having any access to the ballots, without being able to open up any of the packages that were put in mailboxes or any of that. Just automatically make the assumption all of this is helping Joe Biden. You can't make that leap. You can't, it doesn't matter how many mailbox ballots you see me stuffing at 2 a.m. There's no way to know what's on the ballot. What if a Republican from a different county, different area, decided to do this to make the Democrats look like they're cheating? It sounds far-fetched, I get it. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Without having access to the ballots, you don't know what's on them. Dinesh D'Souza, in the video, 280,000 ballots or something he did at the end, 100% of his math, 100% of Dinesh D'Souza's math was in favor of liberals cheating. The whole movie suggested that Republicans were 100% honest and 100% of the cheating came from Democrats. There's absolutely no way you can make that kind of conclusion, particularly when you didn't do any investigating in Republican areas. We've said it before. They went to Arizona, they went to Phoenix. They went to Wisconsin, they went to Milwaukee. They went to Pennsylvania, they went to Philadelphia. They went to Georgia, they went to Atlanta. Did they do any investigating in the rural Republican areas of any of these states? No, they didn't. So any cheating that took place in Republican areas, you can be sure they would not have found out about it. They didn't check. They only went to prove Democratic fraud. Wasn't concerned with Republican fraud. That's why when you look at the reports, 100% of the allegations is that Democrats are cheating. Republicans are inherently honest. That's a huge assumption. It's not a believable one either. In an election where Trump received 70 plus million votes, 100% of those were honest. Not one of those votes for Trump was fraudulent. But the Democratic side, millions of them were. That's what they actually are telling you. That you can get 70-some million Republicans together and none of them would do anything wrong. That's not believable. It's not believable. So we'll see what the courts have to say. But considering the sheer statistical probability of 70 million honest Republicans and a ridiculous amount of cheating on the Democratic side, I don't see it. I don't see it. Why do we know lottery results within hours, yet the president, it takes days? Things like this raise suspicion. Legitimate point, Brownsbacker. But it goes back to my original statement. Suspicion does not equate to democratic law breaking. Just because something is suspicious doesn't mean it actually happened. Maybe your wife comes home at 2 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't mean she was cheating. Looks suspicious as hell. But you can't just wake her up and say somebody was banging her. Suspicion versus proof. It appears that Trump and his supporters that believe the election was stolen are actually using suspicion as actual factual proof. Works very well in a court of public opinion. Will not work very well in a court of law. It'll fall apart just like I'm presenting to you. You can't use this as fact. It looks bad, I get it, but you can't go in there and just make these statements when all of this stuff could easily be countered with, well, what about it happening this way? Yeah, that's possible. You can't just make these huge leaps from suspicion to actual fact. And it does appear that the overwhelming majority of this stuff is taking that path. That it looks suspicious, therefore it must be. Cheating, fraud, crime. That's not going to work in a court of law. So I just wanted to present this to you. I hate that we didn't get to run the program as normal, but just looking at this on face value, whether you support Trump or you believe in Biden, you gotta assume in the court of law, Trump's gonna have a hell of an uphill battle because all of his allegations are based on suspicion. Very little of it is based on fact. Otherwise, you'd know the facts by now. How hard is it to prove Dominion switched votes to Biden? The fact that you haven't received the proof 3 years later shows that they're having a hell of a time coming up with facts. It's just all suspicion. It's all suspicion. From the conservative point of view and the history, the left has grown in power significantly. Every day, more and more of our freedoms dwindle away in favor of what the left wants. Tell that to the pro-choice crowd, that the left is taking away freedoms. Tell that to the pro-choice crowd. Tell that to the LGBT community. Tell that to the left that wants common sense gun legislation. I could come up with a host of things where the right are gaining power. I don't get where you're saying the left is taking away freedoms unless you're ignoring the gains of the right. Losing the right to choose is huge. It's a hell of a lot of women losing freedom. I'm assuming you didn't even think about that one. I'm assuming. So I don't buy into that. You can even get a gun in Chicago now. I would assume folks on the right are gaining a lot of freedoms too. Governor Abbott forcibly trying to put up the 10th commandment in every public school in Texas. That's a huge gain for the right. It's a loss for folks who don't support Christianity. You think Disney World down in Florida, they're gaining freedoms? You think Ron DeSantis is helping them gain freedoms? I don't know if suggesting that the Democrats are taking away freedoms, I don't know if that's well thought out. I can come up with a host of counterpoints, as you see I just did. Do you know how many hoops you need to jump through to legally buy a gun through a FFL dealer? I got relatives in Chicago that own guns. It's not that hard. If you just want a firearm to defend yourself and your family in Chicago, it's not that hard. And keep in mind, when you talk about the difficulty of obtaining a firearm in America, it only represents a few small areas. Most of America, carrying a gun concealed for a legal citizen is allowed. It's a few areas, maybe Los Angeles, maybe New York. But if you put up a map of the United States, it had to color in the areas where there's strong gun laws. 99% of the territorial United States would not be colored in. It's not like there's tough gun laws all over America. It's not that hard. Now, there might be certain types of guns. I'm willing to argue, willing to debate that. But if you just want to have a Glock or a pistol to defend, or a shotgun to defend your homestead, the overwhelming majority of the geographical area of the United States, you can do that. And the gun laws have gotten looser, not stricter. A lot of states are permitless now. I don't even need a permit anymore. A lot of folks will tell you. I don't know where the liberals are gaining and the Republicans are losing. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Your arguments are weak, brother, says Gary Klaus. Okay. You believe that the left is taking away all the freedoms and the right is losing out. I get it. I just disagree, and you're entitled to your opinion. Looking in the comments. What up, LB? He stayed grifting to his base, and they fall for it. Just like he was going to do a press conference with his bombshell reporting on the election. That is so true. What happened to that? Why did he cancel that press conference? You know why? His lawyer. He has 4 indictments, and his lawyer is letting him know some of this election shit is why you're being indicted. If you get out there and you start saying shit that's not true, it's going to bite you in court. That's why he canceled his press conference. Because whatever he was going to present as proof probably wasn't going to be proof. I don't know, folks. He got a bad uphill battle coming up. He really has a bad battle coming up. I do believe that. Gary Klaus says you're awesome. I love how you just took what I said and moved on like few can do that. Well, you told me I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. I told you I disagree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion. I appreciate the participation, appreciate having you here, and I will never ban, block, or censor you for your comment. What else can I do with it? You told me I didn't know what I was talking about. It is what it is. You didn't state what I got wrong, but I did entertain your comment. Looking in the comments here. But yeah, real quick here. You literally need to go into a nationwide background check in many states. You need to go to your local precinct and be approved to conceal carry. Are you against performing a nationwide background check on a gun owner? In this environment where everybody's getting shot, how long does it take to own a firearm? In most areas. We're not arguing over whether you can get a gun or not. We're actually having an argument over I want one now and I can't get it. That's the only argument. Even in Chicago, a couple weeks, a month, max, you can get a gun. You're not arguing with me over strong gun laws. You're arguing they won't hand it to me right now. I need it now. Is it really that serious? I mean, that's the argument you're presenting, is that I don't like that they're making me waste time with a national background check. Just give me the gun right now. Okay, all right. I don't know what else to say with that one. In the 60s, we could buy guns in the mail. But that's what we're arguing about. You're talking about tough gun laws. I counter with, there's really nowhere in America that you cannot have a gun to defend yourself. Your counter is, but I can't get it as quick as I want it. I used to be able to get it through the mail, or they didn't used to run a national background check. I stand by what I said. You can get a gun and defend yourself. in less than a month. What's going on that the rush is so damn important? You're not arguing of whether you can get a gun or not. You're arguing the fact that I can't get it as fast as I want it. What is the rush? Are you running from the cartel? I mean, if you want an AR-15 or an AK-47 or something, takes you 2 extra weeks. Is that really that bad? That you can't get it as fast as you want it? That's what we're arguing about now? Looking in the wow, I mean, I'm surprised. That's crazy. Lots of difficulty. It costs money and infringes on our right. I don't disagree that it costs some money. I do agree with that, but to me, if the goal is to defend yourself, I don't think the cost in purchasing a firearm is so prohibitive that the vast majority of Americans can't. To me, it's almost like the claim that liberals make, bitching about you need an ID to vote. If you want to vote, find a way to get the damn ID. It doesn't cost that much. Any adult should be able to get a damn ID. I think that's a ridiculous argument. Same thing I think of the guns. If you want a gun that bad, find a way to buy the damn permit and get a background check. I don't think that's too much to ask. I just don't. I get the claim that it's infringement. Anything you do to prevent a person from getting a gun is infringement. If I'm completely cuckoo and got mental health issues up the yin yang, preventing me from getting a gun is infringement. Infringement can go anywhere. To prevent infringement means you should give everybody a gun basically at birth. You're not going to, I mean, what kind of society you want? No infringement at all? Even if something's wrong with you? I mean, we're referring to a national background check as infringement. Okay, like I said, if you want to defend your family, you can get a gun. All of this shit about I need to get it right now today, different argument. I actually don't own any and most likely never will. I just understand the 2A, the laws in place. If you are cuckoo, the NICS check should flag some of that with the same crimes. Not if you got folks claiming that check is infringement. That's why a lot of mentally ill folks can still get a gun. Because so many folks are pushing that I don't want any infringement. I once did a show and I asked if a military veteran admitted to their doctor that they're waking up screaming in the middle of the night and crying based on what they've seen in the war zone, should they still be able to get a gun? Almost all of my 2A viewers said, yeah. That's a clear example of mental illness. That is why it is so difficult to treat the mental illness, the mentally ill when it comes to 2A, is the bar of what facilitates taking away a weapon from somebody who's mentally ill is so damn high, nobody's ever going to reach it. If having a government-paid abortion is a right, it's not a right. We'll stop right there. It's not a right to have a government-paid abortion. So we'll end it right there. Why does a mental illness prevent you from having a right? That right there is exactly what we're talking about. Why does having a mental illness prevent you from having a right to own a gun? That's what I'm talking about right there. Anytime there's a mass casualty event, the liberals say you should take away guns because that's the problem. The right says that's ridiculous. The actual problem is mental illness. But then they come back and say, but why should mental illness stop you from having a gun? I don't have a response to that. I don't. Why should mental illness stop you from having a right? Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that. But you legally go AFFL, you buy it legally. If the documentation exists in the system, it will be checked. I can't respond to all that. Most gun crime is committed by 18 to 25. They should increase to 25, except military or cops. I agree with that. I agree with raising the age of gun ownership. I do agree with that, particularly for high-powered shit. But yeah, I think 18 to 25 that's the reason why auto insurance is more expensive for 18 to 25-year-olds, because they have done the math, and the statistical probability for irresponsible behavior is much higher in the 18 to 25-year-olds. I don't know why we don't look at gun ownership the same damn way. 18-year-old go in the Army, yeah, but in the military, they don't just hand you a gun. They make sure you know how to use it. You're responsible for cleaning it. You can't just go walking off the base with an M16 in your hand. There's all sorts of limitations. Whereas the Ubalde shooter turned 18, ordered some weapons, and he's sitting there on the bed with them. Can do whatever you want to do with them. You don't get that right in the military. Even after you've been trained, they don't give you that right. You can't just go roaming the streets with your M16. So that's a huge difference. And you're talking about somebody who was trained in the military. This dude just went to the gun shop and told him he's 18 and has no criminal record. It's a huge difference. Should blind people have driver's licenses? Mental illness is a disability. I agree with that as well. However, the counterpoint is going to be that driving is a privilege, owning a gun is a right. But there's, just like anything else, you can lose the right to vote. I don't see how you shouldn't be. The notion what someone asked me in this live stream, which was, why should mental illness take away your gun rights? That right there illustrates everything you need to know and why we got such a crazy society. Why should mental illness take away your gun rights? Wow. I should, looking in the comments here, a prohibitive disability in some situation. Yeah, I do agree. You have a great program. Almost made me download TikTok. Thanks for coming over to YouTube. Gabe, I appreciate that. I got to get it to work better on YouTube, though, so bear with me. I think I'm going to start hanging out on YouTube more. I do believe that. I want to be able to take callers like I did on TikTok, though, because I do miss interacting with you folks. Learn a lot from you, have a lot of good time talking to you folks, particularly MAGA. You know what I always say? MAGA are my preferred guests. I remember a guy at a base back east that lost it and started deleting. Both cases are two trained individuals vetted by the government. Given, I don't quite understand that. But yeah, I do believe that the statistical probability of an 18-year-old acting irresponsibly is far greater than a 50-year-old. So raising the age of firearm ownership, I think that could help out a lot. You don't see 50-year-olds getting pissed off that somebody is staring at them. You don't see them getting in fights as much. They're not hanging out at the club. They're not out at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not in situations where this type of shit can take place as much as 18 to 25-year-olds. Their ego is not as great. Testosterone is not as high. It's just the probability of an 18 to 25-year-old getting into a conflict is much higher than folks that are 40, 50, 60 years old. It just is. Who determines maturity? The math. The math determines maturity. Like I just stated, an 18 to 25-year-old is far more likely to get into a fist fight than a 50-year-old. The math determines maturity. Just like I stated before with insurance. If you have to have insurance, the insurance companies do not like to pay out claims. They are really good at doing the math to determine premiums and who gets coverage or not. They can tell you pretty quick who should and should not have a gun. If the insurance companies had to insure you, you'd find out real quick who should and should not have a gun. The insurance premiums for an 18-year-old with a Glock are going to be significantly higher than a 75-year-old with a Glock. That's what we're talking about. Now, in the comments, Gary Cloud said that's a typical left view, as if no right-wingers own insurance companies. All insurance companies, all of the statisticians, they're all liberals. No Republican would ever tell you this stuff. It's only liberals. This is math. It's not liberal. It's not conservative. It's math. I don't know where to go with that. It's freaking math. And by the way, you can get, through USCCA is the company I recommend, you can get insurance if you're ever involved in a self-defense altercation using a firearm. And I can guarantee you, without even doing the numbers or without even checking with them, I guarantee you, and I'm saying this without ever looking into it, I guarantee you that the insurance cost for an 18 to 25-year-old is higher than it is for a 75-year-old. And the USCCA is not liberal, period. They're not liberal. So the notion that this is a liberal point of view is just ridiculous in its face. Anyone insuring a gun owner against a self-defense claim is going to charge the younger people more because they are more likely to shoot someone. That's ridiculous to suggest that that belief is liberal. Wow, is all I can say. Wow. I mean, the younger crowd has higher insurance on virtually everything, from driving cars, motorcycles, you name it. They do more irresponsible shit. They are across the freaking board. Take guns out of the picture. 18 to 25-year-olds are less responsible, period. It's not liberal. It's statistics. Wow. That's all I can say. That somebody would say that's a liberal point of view. My son's car insurance is $1,200 alone, and he's 22. So yes, you are right about that. Cost and what it would be to insure the younger generation. I don't get how that was not even understood. My comment wasn't a reply on the insurance thing. Anyway, I'm something. I didn't see what that said. I don't know where the liberal, it's crazy. I don't know where that even, there's nothing liberal about that at all. 18 to 25-year-olds are less responsible with firearms than older people. But maybe some people think differently. Anyhow, folks, I am pissed that TikTok took down a live stream, but I am delighted that several more of you came through YouTube. So I will try to get the visuals better, the signal better, and I'll try to see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good day.